Say hi to the people. So my friend Marnie the Wing Girl made a video about the types of women who cheat, and I loved it so much that I wanted to add my 2 cents because I think that there is a lot that you should know on this subject. Hello, I'm Caitlin V, your sex and relationship coach, and in this video, I'm gonna share the 6 types of women that will cheat and exactly what to look out for. Now, the truth is, as much as we hope that it won't, cheating happens. In fact, it happens a lot and it happens to suck. Especially when you are in the throes of a romantic and sexual partnership, it can be super hard to tell if you are imagining things or if your partner's behavior is cause for real concern. And only you, sir, can know yourself well enough to ask, is this my gut? Is my intuition telling me something is up? Or is this my insecurity or my anxious attachment that is causing problems, acting up, and wanting to create drama? That's a different video. This is about her. Before I jump in, let me say a couple things. At the end of the day, I believe that people change. I'm a coach. I watch people change. I help people change for a living. I myself have changed. My husband has changed. People change. And we're all capable of doing really good, really amazing things. And we are all capable of doing really painful, really awful, really horrible things that cause a lot of pain. That's just what it's like to be a human being. That's just what we've signed up for here. I also want to say that I'm a believer that with determination and effort, people who have done shitty things can overcome them. Like, no one is trapped by their personality or by their past or by their previous behavior. And I know this to be true because I have helped people to do this deep work. So anyway, nothing that I say in this video should be taken as proof that someone is cheating or an indictment of that person. I'm just gonna share with you information based on my personal experience as to who cheats and why. Now, cheating happens for a lot of different reasons. Some are internal and unique to that person. Some are circumstantial and they're all about the context. But knowing the types of people and situations that are more likely to cheat than others, you can use that awareness and that information to hopefully catch things early and maybe even protect yourself from being betrayed. So let's dive in. Types of women that will cheat. Number 1, the thrill seeker. This type of woman avoids commitment and anything resembling a traditional relationship. She tends to get swept up in the wild and whirlwind romances and flings, and they never last long. And eventually she has the itch to run away when things get too real. She's always looking for the next thing. She's looking for something edgy and dangerous and new and thrilling. And if you've entered into a relationship with this kind of woman, you should definitely have, from the very jump, some very clear and open conversations about expectations and commitments. Because if you feel like you're the exception to the rule, I hate to say it, you're probably not. It's nothing personal, it's just the way that she rolls. So don't expect her to do something other than be herself. People who have a history of cheating in relationships also fall into this category. And again, I don't strictly believe that like once a cheater, always a cheater nonsense, but it is a saying for a reason. So unless she's done some self-reflection, some therapy, some coaching, there's a good chance that it is only a matter of time before the pattern repeats itself. Number 2 of 6, the abuser. Now, cheating is horrible at the best of times, and to make matters worse, some cheaters resort to abusive behaviors to mask their secrets. So sometimes those behaviors are a good indication that someone is going to cheat. Now, if your partner is constantly putting blame on you, throwing accusations your way, maybe even accusing you of cheating, this may be her deflecting from her own actions. And again, in a way that is abusive to you. Often when someone who's cheating feels like they're getting close to being caught, they will gaslight their partner into thinking that it's all in their head. Or they'll become incredibly jealous. They'll become super possessive. All of this can be a means of deflecting. So if you feel like your sense of reality is being worn down by your partner over time, it is possible that this tactic is what they are using to cover their cheating, and it also happens to be a form of emotional abuse. Identifying abuse in your relationship can be hard because it can be difficult to see the forest for the trees, especially if you love that person. That's why I made an entire video on the 10 different types of abuse that tends to fly under our radars. Have a look at that if you suspect you might be in an abusive relationship. And if you feel over time that your sense of reality is being warped, like what you think you know to be true is you're being told that that's not true by your partner, especially when you bring up your suspicions, then there is a fair chance that you're right. You might be correct. Unfortunately, cheating might just be one piece of a bigger issue. Number 3, the victim. If your partner is constantly the victim and making you the perpetrator and creating the narrative that you are to blame for everything that comes her way, for all of the downfalls or pitfalls of the relationship, that may be her way of hiding her own dishonesty. You see, the victim has a fixed mindset. She's not interested in growing self-development or even admitting when she's wrong, and she's definitely not going to take accountability for her actions. I mean, this type of woman will play conversational chess with you until she's backed you into a corner and convinced you to assign all blame to yourself. In fact, the reason that you're even insecure is because it couldn't possibly be anything that she's done. Now, this tactic works, and it works for cheaters because eventually you do begin to think that you might maybe be the one to blame. And you may actually never stop to consider that she might be hiding who she is or being deceitful, especially if she's particularly good at having you take on the identity of the perpetrator or the savior. Now, again, this is something to be wary of only if it's a tactic and not a genuine reaction to circumstances. Now, if you are constantly criticizing her or putting her in a box or making her a victim, then she has every right to call you out for that. But if this is a part of who she is, part of what she has created as the main dynamic around her cheating, well, that's something for you to definitely look at. And of course, as with all things, it is important for you to consider how you are contributing to the dynamic that's going on between you, because you make up part of that dynamic too. Number 4 of 6, the withholder. If your partner is disconnected from you, she doesn't open up about her feelings, she won't tell you what's going on inside of her mind, she won't share with you, she stonewalls you, you don't get anything from her, well, that is a sign that your cheating suspicions may be correct. At the end of the day, the withholder doesn't know how to or doesn't care to communicate with you. She hides her true feelings, she hides her thoughts, and she's typically terrified of commitment or vulnerability. This type of woman also tends to be conflict avoidant, so if things start getting challenging in your relationship, maybe you're at a point where you need to take the next steps in your relationship, or maybe she has a history of not addressing the things that are bothering her, she might find it easier to just silently retreat than to face any of those issues head on. And that's because for the withholder, it's actually easier for them to cheat and cause a disconnect than it is for them to just address things like an adult. I'm not making any excuses, it's just this is how this typically goes down. Often, these women are prone to emotional cheating as opposed to physical cheating. So even if sex never happened with another person, if you feel her pulling away from you and losing that connection and there's no explanation, it is possible that she's getting those feelings of closeness and intimacy from someone else. That brings me to number 5, the black hole. These women are deeply wounded and they tend to cheat in order to deal with deep insecurities. It might feel like no matter how much you love her, compliment her, tell her she's amazing, she's beautiful, she's always unsatisfied. She's always looking for more love, more attention, more validation. Now, of course, we all need those things inside of any relationship, but the woman that I'm talking about, you can never, ever, ever, ever begin to fill the hole of validation that she needs and literally cannot get. No person can get it. No one will be able to give her all of that. Now, how do you know you're with this woman? Well, she'll put herself in situations where she's going to get a lot of attention. Maybe that's sexual attention from men, even though it violates your boundaries. Maybe she constantly finds herself in situations that are incredibly dramatic, and she definitely played a role in creating it. And so now she gets the high of having someone come in and fix it. Or she may just have super low self-esteem and all the things that come with that. And if that's the case, then anyone that begins to offer her validation, love, and attention is going to be of interest to her. Self-esteem isn't something that makes a person broken, but it certainly can be poison inside of a relationship if it goes unaddressed. Love and affection should be a beautiful and enriching experience, not a perfect one, but something where you build and grow together. And if you feel like your partner is just using your love to fill a void and that you actually are not getting any closer to filling it over time, well, that's cause for concern. And that brings me, very importantly, to number 6, the most important one on this list, and that is the Under F KED Woman. The Under F woman falls under two categories, but they are both super high risk for cheating. And the first is the type of woman who has the ability to feel totally fulfilled inside of a monogamous relationship, but isn't. She's not being totally fulfilled. She's not being the way that she needs to and she wants to, and she has grown resentful because she doesn't feel wanted, she doesn't feel valued, and she's not getting pleasure in the way that she's expecting it, whether or not she's saying it. Now, of course, maintaining a great sex life is a two-person job, and chances are that you both play a role inside of the dynamic that's going on inside of your bedroom. But if you are controlling, if you are possessive, if you accuse her of being too sexy or too flirtatious and you cause her to go inside, hide herself, hide her beauty, and then you're not fucking her the way that she needs on your end, well, she's gonna feel like she's being taken for granted. She's gonna feel like she's not being seen and appreciated, like maybe she's wasting time, maybe she's gonna die with regrets. She just wants someone to see her as the beautiful, sexual, erotic being that she is, and over time, this desire gets too great to ignore. She will become so desperate to be seen that she will end up looking for sex elsewhere. And by the way, can you truly blame her, especially if she's done the work to try to create a inviting and awesome sex life with you? And if that's the case, I beg for you, don't go into the comments and say she should never cheat, blah, 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 blah. Get that you have responsibility inside of that to look after her needs to prevent that from happening. Because I don't want anyone, man or woman, to go to their grave feeling like they didn't get to live their full sexual life. The second type of woman in this category is someone who just simply cannot be satisfied by having sex with one person, but is too afraid to say that. Typically, this person needs to be in a non-monogamous relationship, what we call CNM, consensual non-monogamy. She needs more than one lover, she needs more than one partner, and because maybe she feels like she can't say that to you, or she's been conditioned to be monogamous, or maybe she just jumps from one partner to the next and she's not necessarily the thrill seeker type, she is not going to be totally satisfied living monogamously, but she doesn't say that out loud and create something that actually works, and she just resorts to cheating instead to get her fill. That's not uncommon in men either. There you have it, the 6 types of women who are most likely to cheat. If you listened to any of that and thought, hold up, that sounds like my partner, I urge you, just remember that these things are complicated. Just because your partner fits into one of these categories doesn't mean that she is cheating. Don't call her right now and accuse her of something. As with all things sex and relationships, communication, willingness to grow, evolution, a trajectory of improvement are key. Even though this is a tough topic, the best thing that you can do is first have this conversation with yourself, create a space for you to be open and you to be honest with yourself to feel your feelings, to sort things out. Maybe work with a professional, then take it to her. Then create a safe and an honest environment so that you and your partner can speak freely. Decide how you want to move forward. Cheating doesn't have to end a relationship. You do not have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I wish we would stop doing this. If you cheat, if she cheats, if there's infidelity in your relationship, you can use that to foster a closer and better relationship. I promise you, it is totally possible. Work with a coach if you're not sure how. I'm Caitlin B. If you wondered why I'm on this set today, it's because we're filming my new course, Hard As You Want, on erectile dysfunction. Cannot wait to share that course with you. Thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you here next week. Bye-bye.